everybody, this is Caroline Sotheby and welcome to Up, Down, and Around Town. Well, we've been around town and that's why no guests today. But last Thursday, I happened to go to the library, Bacon Memorial Library, and I had to find out a little bit about the Michigan Dogman. And I think her name is said Sheeton or Shetton Noir, N-O-I-R. She is a paranormal author. She has many books, and this, I finally got this one. But she said, if you want, you can always catch her books. They're listed on Amazon. The ones that she had were purchased. So this is the only one I got, but she is in the process of having the story on Michigan Dogman. But she did have a presentation, and with that, maybe we can just get a glimpse of what went on last week.
Bipedal canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. According to legends, the Michigan Dogman appears in a 10-year cycle that falls on years ending in 7. And this is a whole mythology that was cooked up and produced by a disc jockey named Steve. Now, within the canine species, there's two different types of paws. There is your cat paw, which looks just like a kitty cat. You would see that mostly like labs, Rottweilers, Mastiffs, but then Bigfoot and Dogman. Because people always ask me, well, could there be a Bigfoot or a Dogman in my area? Do you have farm?
So when I came there and I saw her, I says, I'm new at the subject entirely. I have no idea what you're going to talk about. So she laughed and she says, that's okay, we'll give you some information. But I realized there's more to this, the paranormal, that we take for granted. You knew the thing with UFOs. I mean, we were aware, like, and I swear one time I saw one on the Southgate Shopping Center sign as I was waiting at the red light. And because I looked at that and the lights were flashing, and I said, that can't be a helicopter. And all of a sudden, whew, it went out in the sky. It was the following day. There were sites someplace in Michigan. So I thought, did I really see one? How about that? But anyway, I don't think I'd want to see some of the other items that she's talked about. This is, like I said, the one that we had, must have been her first one. She gives details on how she started, what her interests actually were from young on. And so now that she's piqued my interest, I think I'm going to keep on looking at this thing. What's surprising, though, as I was at the library and I picked up the May menu, here's something going to be called Beyond the Veil, Unveiling Intuition, Mediumship, Psychic Insights, and that's from the other side, and it's by Christy Robinette. It's scheduled for Thursday, May 23rd at 6 o'clock. So, I mean, they're not just handing out books at the library. They're having a lot of different programs. So once in a while, hop in there and see if you something there that might be of interest. Also, which I think is very unusual, scheduled for May 11th on Saturday, marble watercolor class, and that is by the Acanthus Art Society. And remember, they were the group that actually started what we call the art fair many moons ago. So they're still active. I'm sure many new persons there. But if you want to be interested and go to that, that's marble watercolor class. Saturday, April 27th is the beginning of registration. So they probably want to know how many people are going to show up because they're going to even have a late lunch. So look into this and this and this. But while I was there, Here's the things that they offer for craft. This is from last month, and they still had a couple left. This one is being featured this month, and that's a sunflower coaster. If you want to get decorative, you have all the items, read the directions, and you have one. Okay, many other things we went to last Friday was basically, we went for a mission fundraiser, but after the dinner, we were sort of celebrated and had a chance to see a group that normally doesn't come to Wyandotte, and it's something I always wanted to learn. I know how to polka, but I don't know how to do this. Okay, that's just a little tease because they will be guests on the show the week of May 7th. It's interesting to see the young kids as well as the older girls. When I talked to Liz, she mentioned that she got involved because she wanted her kids and also, the Irish people, a continuation of their dance, their customs, so on. And I said, well, it's similar to what PRCU does in Wyandotte. PRCU has had their dance group for many a year, and you can see them usually in the parade, or sometimes they even go to Tiger Stadium when it's Polish night. Anyway, next thing that I'm going to bring up is something that I sort of many years ago before Town. Now, Town will be anniversary next month, May. We started in 1988. But the year before that, 1987, was Michigan's sesquicentennial. And we figured, what can we do with it? So for many years, I had gone to the library. And this book is published in 1955. The Rotary Club actually asked the librarians, and this is one of them. This is Mrs. Joseph DeWitt, who was a librarian at the time, and with her crew of, there were 3 other people, Elizabeth Bobier, Winifred Lebar, and Anne Girardin. They had the history of Wyandotte from the beginning till that year. So going to the library every so often and going through all the file cabinets, managed to get information on many different topics. And that's how we started with From Canoe to You. Each segment was a different theme, and then we had guests on that were pertaining to that special theme and bringing up their history of what they did up to that point. So right now, it sort of closes from the 50s all the way to the 80s. Maybe it's your turn to come and put some history on for the next couple of years, right? Anyway, this is the people that were in there. This is Mrs. Joseph, DeWitt. She also started having the first museum. It wasn't out where the museum is now. Here's Mrs. Bober and her family. There was one that did many poems, Winifred Stoddard. And this was Mrs. Girardin. So, as you can tell, they're in plastic. I also have many books, scrapbooks, because my other daughter started with Woman of Wyandotte. So don't come into my bedroom because you're going to see VHS tapes, you're going to see scrapbooks, and everything else. It's a total mess. But anyway, that's my fault, right? But going to this now, in 1987, From Canoe to You, and we'll just go to the 8th one. You'll give an idea of who some of the guests were on the previous shows. But we want to mention the fact that Mr. Griggs passed away a couple weeks ago. And he was very instrumental in doing a lot of things for the Recreation Department, especially the handicapped. And so let's take a glimpse of that, okay?
50 years in existence. I'm Caroline Sotheby, along with Bill Roth. We're here to continue on with our 8th show. And remember when we first started this program, Bill, way back in January, and
how could I forget?
birthday cake and all. We had Bill Krieger on, the rowing representative, and Tim Affolder talking about the days at speed skating and barrel slip. From there, Bill, we went to
Other things. Yeah, since that initial program, we've had many guests and many different themes. The second in the series had Eric Reichel, who is now the director of Wayne County Parks and Recreation, come and talk to us about the 1920s era and Elizabeth Park activities. And also on the same show, Bernice Burson, with the assistance of Mount Carmel's first sports program book, pass along some names of the 1938-39 sports enthusiasts.
Okay, our 3rd and 4th show touched on baseball, softball, fastball, with St. Pat's graduate Bob Kuzava, who later becomes a pro baseball player after graduation in the war. And on the same program, Jack Sotheby came in and talked about the fastball heydays with Buck Polonzik and Wyandotte Chemicals. And then an interview with Stan Yama Wurzba told us about the freestyle playing of baseball and football without equipment.
Now, our 5th in the series touched on our favorite pastimes, including the history of the various movie houses in town, WJJW radio, and personalities such as Art Decker, Beverly Norbury, Stephen Quirk, Forrest, and Todd Arnoldi, and interviewing our own Wyandotte Cable volunteers about their favorite pastimes. The 6th program continued on with the music, then recollecting the songs of the early era and activities into the 50s with the initiation of Wyandotte Community Theater. On that program, we talked with the current president of WCT, Rob Bovitz, and also with Dorothy Hollinati, who's been active in the arts in this area for some time.
Okay, our 7th show gave way to the Indian City Radio Control Group, and they had been in existence from 1920. Sporadically during the war years, they disappeared, but finally submerged to the surface and became an active group once again. And the group with Earl Lynn was the one that especially told us of the Glider Club in the 1930s, Douglas Walters, Jack Leister, and the Malhoes. And that brings us now to our present taping, which will be the recreation, and centering in on the boxing. I think what I'm really interested in now, not only that, the handicap that you mentioned slightly about with the swimming in the facilities down at Lincoln Junior High. I've been there and I've seen the kids, or adults too, in the handicap group actually go back there and use the special room that they have. And I think it's a tremendous program that finally advanced. I think that wasn't that brought about by Mr. Griggs?
Yes, that program was started in 1974. I was appointed in 73 as superintendent when Ben retired. And as I explained earlier, if there was a request for a program, I tried to see if we could put the program in. So that program was started by a gentleman by the name of Russell Kidd. Wrote me a letter to my office, and he said, I'm a taxpayer, I live in the city of Wyandotte, and I'm disabled. What do I do for recreation? And so that was a good question. So I knew nothing about providing a program for the disabled, but I did know a person who had a lot of experience in recreation for the handicapped, which was Bill Griggs. So I called Bill Griggs, and I said, Bill, we got to go out and split a pizza. And that's how we started the program. We sat down, we talked, and we sure do have a nice program now.
It is.
So many of us will be missing Bill. But it's nice to know he was positive in his work here at the city, and especially with the handicap. He was aware of what their downfalls were and what they can do and how they could be helped. And this is one thing we found this past year. I think I even told you our local sports wrap-up. I had gone to the basketball tournament at Roosevelt. They have these kids actually intertwined with the regular, what we call normal kids. We shouldn't say that, but they have been working together, and they've been having basketball. As a matter of fact, there was something that came into my Facebook yesterday on this one who took first place in his first chance at running in the field track. So that probably will be coming on local sports. Anyway, a lot of things are happening. I hope you're enjoying yourself. One thing, don't forget, this coming weekend, if the weather permits, the 27th, that's Saturday, rowing on the river, Hebda Cup. And if you ever have a chance to go there, you can bring your own chairs, sit alongside the river, and watch the activity going on. And they're always very active there because most of the schools, there's 6 local schools, plus I guess Perrysburg, Ohio comes in, they bring their own areas where they put up a tent, have their food, or just sitting arrangements. So it takes almost from noon to about 8 o'clock to about maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on the weather and if they had to take any breaks or not. So don't forget, that's rowing on the river this Saturday. That's the Hebda Cup. The following Saturday is the Y High. And many activities going on. Remember we talked about this. If you got your magazine, I think you'd like to see this. This is something that became local. Wyandotte second grader named Petite Miss Dance of Michigan. We're going to have to find out more about her too, right? And another thing, hey, this is the week for the restaurants, so come on down. We have plenty of assortment of restaurants in town. You know that for a fact. So Restaurant Week, April 20th to 27th. A lot going on. Maybe I'll see you around town, huh? Okay. Other than that, catch you next time on Up, Down, and Around Town.